Like now, I'll introduce the program, then I'll introduce you. All right, so we're live for day two of this conference, Sell Without Stress. All right, so you're welcome. You're welcome. Um, whether you're watching the recording or you're here live this evening, welcome. And once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for participating in this conference because it's a step you're taking to help yourself, help your business, to learn. See, the lifeblood of any business is sale. No matter what you're doing, no matter the business you're into, sales is what will keep your business going. Okay, every other thing you do, customer relations, marketing, product development, every other thing you do is geared to helping your business make sales. So sales is the lifeblood of your business. You're welcome, Billionaire Mentor. Sales is the lifeblood of your business. Everything you do is geared towards making sales. So if you can um, fix that aspect of your business where you're making sales steadily, then every other thing will fall into place. Alex Homozy, the author of 100 million dollar offers, he said something. He said, you're not in business to have the most clients or to deliver the best service or to do this or do that. You're in business to make money. You're in business to make money. That should be your primary aim. Every other thing, getting clients, customer relations, delivery, packaging, product development, everything else is dependent on making or is geared towards helping you make sales. And that is the aim of this conference. So, like I said yesterday when we started, everything or the 11 days we are going to have here, the 11 days we are going to have here, we'll all be talking about making sales. Okay. And today we'll be looking at something different. Okay, yesterday I opened your eyes to how you can make sales using affiliate marketing. Okay, how you can make sales by employing affiliates in your business, by having people that will sell your product or promote your service at a commission. Today we'll be looking at another area of sales, how to increase sales in your business, how to get more people to patronize you, how to get more people to buy from you, how to get more people to take your service, pay you for what you're doing. And we'll be looking at that using the tool of storytelling. Okay. And I have my friend and one of the best when it comes to storytelling for sales, because storytelling is a very powerful tool that can be applied across several different fields. Okay, but when it comes to storytelling in the aspect of making sales, there are few who do it better than Precious Greg. So it's a privilege and a pleasure to have Precious here with us. I'll bring her upstage now and then introduce her properly. Then she will take over and give us everything she has packaged for us, which is a lot. All right. So if you can hear me, if you can see me, I want you to just in the comments, let's welcome our guest, Precious Greg. Let's welcome her in the comments. Let us show her love and show her that we appreciate her taking the time to be here. Precious, you're welcome. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Your microphone is muted.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you so
Um,
much.
Super honored to be here. Although I can't see the comments, but
Yeah,
thank
I'll
you for
put the.
having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, Precious is a
Oh,
brand storyteller. She's a copywriter extraordinaire, one of the best I know. She's a brand storyteller. She helps brands sell by crafting compelling stories around their message. All right. So she will be sharing with us today how she does that and how you can do it for your business. How you can employ stories to help you sell, to capture people's attention, and keep that attention until the point when you need them to pay you for your service or your product. All right, so Precious, you're welcome. Thank you once again. Please just go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us more about who you are and what you do.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Godsplan, once again for having me. I am happy to be here to be talking about selling with stories, selling without stress with storytelling. Okay, so just a quick introduction about myself. My name is Precious Greg. I'm a brand copywriter and storyteller. I basically work with brands and businesses to create marketing messages, as well as creating not just marketing messages that convert, but also creates brand impression. So yeah, so just quickly, I think that's about it. Go ahead to can I
Yeah, you
like go
can.
ahead to the main agenda? Sorry?
Yeah, you can go. The floor is yours. You can go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll be back to take.
Okay, so yeah, so thank you for the warm welcome, Billionaire, the digital mentor. I see your comments. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. So, very quickly, I'll be talking about selling with storytelling. The theme of this event, this conference, is basically selling without stress. Right. And selling with stories is actually one of the best ways to sell without stress, because it's a really easy way to sell, because you're not trying to sell. You're not trying to sound salesy. You're not forcing it. It's something that comes really natural and easy. So selling with story is something that comes really natural. Storytelling is something that naturally moves us as humans, right? So just before I get started, I'm going to share a story. Yeah, so there was a particular man, a New York journalist. Yeah, so he bought a couple of about 200 items of products, of very cheap and ordinary products. So he bought a lot of these items, about 200 of them. Each one of these items costs an average of $1. So buying 200 items for about $1 each was totaling about $200 in total. You get for these 200 items. Now these items were not just cheap; they were ordinary items. They were almost worthless. They had almost no intrinsic value, right? They were really very cheap and ordinary items. We're talking about items like plastic keys. We're talking about items like just plastics and all of these materials that really have no value, that you could just throw away out either there. So he bought these items, yeah. Now he spent a total of about $200 to purchase these items. Now, what he did next was quite amazing. What he did next was he took these items and he was going to resell them, but he did something different. What he did was he contacted, a couple of storytellers and told them to write, professional storytellers. Now, he told them to write a story. He contacted 200 of these storytellers and told them to write a story for each item. So each storyteller was to write a story for each item. You get. So now these stories were to talk about each item, right? Were to tell a story about each item. Now what he did was he took each stories for each item and as product description for each item and put it on eBay. He put the products on sale on eBay with their stories attached to them. So with each story for each item attached to them, and he sold them. Now he was going to resell these products. Now what he did was quite amazing. At the end of this whole thing, he sold every single one of these products. That was not just it, but he sold everything. He spent $200 to buy all of these things. By the end of the day, what he got out of selling these products were about $7,000 in total. Yes, that's over $6,000, 6,000% increase. That's a whole lot. Now, what's the lesson here? Is to tell you that the fact that he used stories as a description to sell these products made a difference. Now, he was able to connect. to the audience. He was able to connect to people, and people not just bought those products, but they bought the stories, because those stories touched their emotions, right? You're telling a story about a plastic key. Maybe you're telling a story about the origin of this plastic key, how it's, just something really spectacular. Nothing really, I'm saying something really spectacular, but if you even look at it, it's not nothing really too complex, just a very simple story that's quite emotional. It just touches them and you're like, wow. And they're not even looking at the product. Now the audience, the buyers don't look at the product anymore. They don't think they are buying a product, because they are buying the story that has been told about the product. They are buying the feeling. Do you understand? They are buying how you made them feel. That's what made them buy, not the products. Because if it were to be just the product, then you could have just put it up there and, just come and buy, and then they'll go and buy. Because funny enough, if you put the products out there like that, nobody will even look at it, because they were worthless products. So the buyers weren't stupid. But this journalist knew what worked, and used it. Right? Thank you, Billionaire Digital Mentor. Thank you. So I believe that you get the point here. This shows that storytelling is great. Storytelling works wonders only if you know how to use it right. Because you can tell a story and miss. You know that. You can actually tell a story and miss. You can tell a story, and at the end of the day, you get your readers confused. You can tell a story, at the end of the day, it's as blank and as lame as anything you can think of. You can tell a story, and at the end of the day, it would have been better you just wrote a copy. They just wrote this here without even telling a story. So that is why so I would tell you that storytelling is powerful only when you know how to do it right. Right? Storytelling is powerful only when you know how to do it right. So he knew how to do it right. Of course, he didn't even know how to do it right. Probably that's why he had to hire professional storytellers to do that. So, but today I'm going to be sharing with you certain elements that would help you in telling stories that sell, that makes selling easy peasy for you, that makes selling stress free for you. You get. So I'm not going to be doing too much of an introduction of what storytelling is, because I believe that we all know what that is, right? Storytelling is basically telling a narrative. That's what it means. It's just narrating something, saying something in an exciting way, right? As humans, we've probably heard this phrase like a million times, that as humans, we buy based on emotions and justify with logic. That's true. Actually, we buy based on emotions. The thing that actually drives us to buy is how emotionally connected we are with the product. That's when we actually take the buying decision. And then afterwards, we now try to, look for a logical reason behind why we're buying this product, right? You go to the market and you see, as a lady, you go to the market and you see a very nice handbag, and just looking at it, you never intended buying that bag, or you just look at it and you're like, wow, there's this match dress I have that this gown will really go with. Like, this bag would really suit. Like, you just think about one gown you have at home, you're like, wow, this is the perfect handbag that I can wear with this gown. Now that's an emotional reason. And then at the end of the day, you're justifying it and you're like, oh, I don't even really have much handbags. Like, I really needed this bag, you're trying to give a reason, a logical reason. But the truth is, you bought that for an emotional reason. Right, you bought that. There was an emotional reason why you bought that. So, Seth Godin said that marketing is no longer about the stuff you sell; it's about the stories you tell. Yeah. So marketing is not just about the stuff that you're selling. I said it before. It's not about the products you're selling. It's not about whether you're selling your products, whether you're selling your service, whatever it is you're selling. It's about what is that story you're telling around that product. What is that narrative you're trying to pass? What is that narrative you are passing across to your audience to connect with them? Right? You have to it helps you create a connection. It helps you create, emotionally appeal to your target audience. Of course, you know that you don't sell to everyone, right? You have who you're selling to, that's your target audience, right? So storytelling helps you connect with these people, helps you meet them at the point where they already are. Right. So very quickly, I'm going to be like sharing a few, like a model that was coined by myself. So it's a model for writing stories that sell. So I call it the 5E model. The 5E model. 5E model. So there are 5 E's. Yeah. So the first E, right? Can you hear me? So the first E is eye catching and enticing. Eye catching and enticing. Okay, I would like someone to put out in put that down in the comment box. Yeah, the 5E model of um writing stories that sell. So there are 5 E's. I'm going to be listing them one after the other. So I would actually appreciate if someone puts that. So you just can just put that in the comment box. So the first E is eye catching and enticing. Eye catching and enticing. And that's the first E, right? So the second E is emotionally compelling. Emotionally compelling, that's the second E. Okay, and the third E, empathetic. The third E is empathetic. The fourth is erratic, ERRATIC. And then the fifth is enjoining. So I'm going to say that again. 1, eye catching and enticing. 2, emotionally compelling. 3, empathetic. 4, erratic. And 5, enjoining. Okay, so just type that in the comment box. Good. Thank you, Queen. The first E. Thank you. So I'm going to start with the first E, which is eye catching and enticing. Now, these things are actually, you know, written down in orderly manner. It's like a step-by-step process, really. So when you tell story, you follow it. It's not just the model. It's not just they're not just elements that your story should contain. No, they're not just elements that should be in your story, but there's like a step-by-step process. You understand? Step-by-step stage or process you can follow when writing stories to sell. All right. So now the first E, like I mentioned, eye-catching and enticing. So I'm going to be explaining what this from what it is. It's self-explanatory already, I believe. So eye-catching and enticing, what does this communicate? What does this communicate? You can type in the comment box what you understand when you say the story is eye-catching, it's enticing. What do you understand by this? Yeah. So it's the same thing as when you're writing a copy. A story, as long as if you're writing a story to sell, it's as good as a copy to sell, really, because the purpose of that story is to sell, as long as you're writing a story to sell. So you can classify it as a copy. Do you understand? Because you are writing it to sell. Because even when you're writing a copy, your copy can have a story, right? So now the first thing, even in copywriting, is that your copy needs to grab attention. That's the first thing. That's the first law. That's the first principle. It has to grab attention. So that's what the first E stands for. Eye-catching and enticing. You know that our attention span is reducing as humans. We don't like nobody wants to read a boring story. Nobody wants to see anything boring, right? So why do you think things like when trends or all this exciting entertainment news, that when you just see the headline, only the headline alone is so like attention grabbing, you quickly click on it. Some of them might be clickbait, but the reason why you clicked on that thing was because the first couple of words you saw were really attention grabbing, and they just immediately clicked on it. Why? These people, they understand the principle of grabbing attention, because you can't, no matter how good your story is, no matter how good your copy is, no matter how interesting it is and all that, if the first couple of words do not entice me, do not catch my eye, do not catch my attention, then the whole thing is dead on arrival. So that's why your first couple of words in your story has to spark up that attention. It has to hold your readers in your neck, like just hook them. Yeah, that's it. It really just has to hook them. That's why there's a particular there's a particular tip for writing story. They say start your story in the middle of the action. Yeah, start your story in the middle of the action. Why are you starting your story in the middle of the action? Because you want to grab attention. So think about the most interesting part of your story. Think about the most unusual. Do you understand? Unusual part of your story, and bring it up. Some people make this mistake. They'll tell a story, they'll start from the boring part. You don't have to start from the beginning. Your story doesn't have to start from the beginning, because some people feel like, okay, I have to write a story from the beginning, and then the beginning is boring. If the beginning of your story is boring, there's no point starting from the beginning, because you can start from the middle to the beginning and back to the end. That in literature, all these things are in literature. If you study literature in secondary school or in the university, there's something it's called, I forgot. I'm sure Pendulum knows this. So you start your story from the. There's some that actually some stories. Sorry,
I said it's called flashback. You start from the middle,
I
then
didn't
you
get.
go back. Can you hear me? I said
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
called
okay, yeah, yes,
flashback.
yeah, yeah. I can hear you now. Yeah. So there are some stories that even actually start from the end, and then now okay, go back to the beginning and then the middle, like that. So think about the meaty part of your story, right? Think about the most unusual part of your story. Think about the part of your story that puts your readers at the edge of their seat, and lay emphasis on it, right? Lay emphasis on it. Let it be in the beginning. Write it in a way that it's not just about what you tell. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. Yes, it's not about what you say, but how you say it. A particular story can be said in two different ways. Do you know a very interesting story can be told in a boring way? Do you know that? Likewise, a boring story can be told in an interesting way. So you want to ensure that you are telling your story in an interesting way. You are able to grab attention from the beginning. People won't say, okay, let me just be reading. Even though the story is boring, let me just be reading and see. No, nobody's going to say that, because there are so many things fighting for our attention. On social media, just one scroll, there's a lot. You know how people scroll on social media, like very fast. So if you're not able to grab attention, then sorry, that's it. So yeah, begin your story from the climax. When I mean climax, I mean from the highest point, from the most interesting part of it. That's the middle of the action. Yeah. So think of something crazy, think of something interesting, think of something shocking about your story. I already said that, something unusual, and lay emphasis on it. Like, let it start your story from the beginning. Start that. Let that be at the beginning of your story. You understand? So the second on our list is emotionally compelling. Emotionally compelling. Now, this is another important part. After you have grabbed their attention. Now, it's one thing to grab their attention, it's another thing to sustain it. Because you can grab their attention and lose it. So you won't just be excited that, oh, I've grabbed their attention. No, the job is not finished. So you have to sustain it. And one of the ways to sustain the attention of your readers is connecting with them emotionally. Emotionally connect with them. Right? Emotionally connect with them. That is what makes your story emotionally compelling. Now, your story should reach out to the emotions of your readers. It should make them feel something. There should be a feeling around it. Now, before you write, you're trying to sell a product here, and maybe you're trying to sell a product on how maybe it's a
Okay. I don't know if it's just from my end, but I think Precious is having network issues. So let's give her some minutes for the network to stabilize. But so far, it has been so good. She has been sharing really, really valuable insights into storytelling. She has said a lot, and she's still going to say a lot when she comes back. So I really hope you're following. Billionaire, thank you for the beats you're dropping is really, really helping so that even those that are not hearing, they can read the beats showing up on the screen. So I hope you're following. She has talked about, or she is talking about the 5 E's of storytelling. Okay. And she started with talking about your story must be eye catching, it must be enticing. Okay. If you want people to read your story, then it must first catch their attention. Right. So, right from the title of your story, and the first few lines, we call that the hook. The first few lines of your story must be something exciting, must be something interesting. That's why a lot of times these days you see clickbait. What is clickbait? Clickbait is a very enticing headline that a lot of people find, attractive, something that a lot of people have interest in, a lot of people love, a lot of people are talking about, something that is probably trending. All right. So um, some marketers use these topics as the headline for whatever they want to sell or whatever they want to write. But when you click the link, then it takes you to a different place. That's why it's called clickbait. But the point there is it's enticing. So your content must be enticing. Okay, Precious is back. I'll just add her back. If you're getting value, if you're watching, you're getting value, please indicate in the comments. Okay, let's know what you're learning. Let's know that you're learning. And just put it down in the comments. All right. I'm adding our guest back now. Precious,
Yeah.
you're welcome back.
So sorry. I was logged out. That's network. Can you hear me? Thank you. Can you hear me?
You're welcome back. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm sorry about that, guys. So yeah, so I was talking about emotionally compelling. Yeah, so your story has to be emotionally compelling. It has to have an emotional punch. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Right. So I was saying that your story has to have an emotional punch. That's one of the best ways to sustain your reader's attention. So after you've gotten it from the beginning, you need to sustain it. Now, okay, yeah, I remember I was giving an example. Yes, I was talking about an affiliate marketing course. So you're trying to sell an affiliate marketing course here. Maybe you're telling a story about how you move from grass to grace, and that's the story about yourself.
Oh, wow. Okay. She's gone again. And let's bear with her. This is Nigeria, so we know how the network situation is. But I'm sure she'll be back soon. All right. But like I said, if you're gaining value, let us know. Just share in the comments. What are you learning so far? What are you learning so far? Okay, she's back. I'll add her back. All right. So let me know in the comments. Please engage. Whether you're watching the replay, you're watching us live, engage. All right. Let's be sure you are being carried along and you're actually learning something from this. All right, I'm adding her back. Adding her
Okay.
back to the stream.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I keep getting logged out. It's like
I
this
know.
network doesn't want us to finish our class.
We'll finish
Sorry
it. We'll
about
finish
that,
it.
guys. Okay, so very quickly, yeah, your story has to have an emotional punch. And before you write a story, you have to decide what particular emotion do you want your prospects to feel. So just like in copywriting, there has to be a predominant emotion that your target audience feel when reading. So it's not one story can make me feel angry at the same time, happy. at the same time, you know, just have rush different type of emotions. No, that's not that's totally, that shouldn't be, right? Even if there are going to be other emotions, but there has to be one predominant one, major one. Maybe you're writing a story now to sell that course I was talking about here. So the predominant emotion there can be hope, that, oh yeah, I can also have what you have. I can also move from my particular, situation to how I want to where I want to be. I can also have the kind of upliftment you had. You understand? So that can be hope. It can even be anger for my situation, anger that, oh, I'm angry at how bad things are. I want to make a change. Right. So whatever the emotion is, there has to be an underlying, there has to be a predominant emotion that your story is communicating. And you have to note that down. You have to identify that, so that guides you, so you don't write your story amiss, right? And another thing is to also help you when it comes to making your story have an emotional punch is paint a vivid picture in your prospect's mind. Make them feel your story. So when I say feel your story, feel the emotion, feel like they are in it. It is beyond just making them feel an emotion. It is actually making them like actually describing things as they are. Talking about something, like I said earlier, it's not just about what you say, but how you say it. You can say, oh, she cried bitterly. That's one thing. Oh, she cried bitterly. Or she felt hot tears roll down her eyes and bent her head down in shame and cried, like that. You get, so now I know that's a very, very simple example, but I hope you get the point here. So when you say something like, oh, she cried, of course she cried. The second one is she felt hot tears running down her eyes as she sobbed her shoulders out, like that kind of thing. Now, this is the same thing. It means the same thing as she cried bitterly. They both mean the same thing. She's crying here, she's also crying here. But this other one, you can almost see her. You can almost see the tears running down her eyes. You can see her shoulders shaking as she cried. You can see how the emotion in her face. You understand? So you start to describe things in a way that it arouses your prospect's five senses. Right? What are those five senses? I mean, six senses. Yeah, they are hearing, they are sight, they are feel, touch. There are a lot of them. So go and Google that, you see. So you're able to ensure that you'll be able to ensure that your story arouses this in these senses. Yeah. So now the third one, yeah, thank you, Billionaire Digital Mentor. So the third one is empathetic. That's the third E, empathetic, very quickly. So what this means is that your story has to be relatable. When you say something is empathetic, it empathizes with you. Oh, this thing empathizes with me. It relates to me. It's something that connects. Yeah, it also connects, but it's more about relatability. Do you understand? It's all about resonation. It resonates with me. So your story has to resonate with your audience. You can't be telling a story about you're trying to sell maybe a maternal book, or not maternal. What's this? Is he maternal or something? Yeah, let's say maternal, to a woman that just gave birth, something like that. Yeah, so she just gave birth to a child, to a baby. That's a market. New mothers. Yeah. So that's a market, right? So you're selling a book, a maternal book, on how to take care of your children, of how to take care of your newborn, how to, for first time mom, all these kind of things. And then you're telling a story about an NYSC person, corp member that was broke, that didn't have, maybe you want to, no, that's not even a good example. Let's say, okay, let me use this. Say you're trying to sell a particular course to maternal moms. Now you want to target maternal moms. It's a course that can help them from the comfort of their homes to make money, because they have to be attending to their kids. So it's something that won't take much of their time, just maybe 1 hour, 2 hours daily to make money, and stuff like that. So you want to target this market, right? And then you're telling a story about a youth corp member, how you were able to make money as a youth corp member, and during the period you were serving, you made money for yourself through this course and blah blah blah. That kind of story won't resonate with a woman in that market who is a new time mom. That story won't resonate with her because she's not a youth corp member. She doesn't feel like this story is being communicated to her. She doesn't feel like you're speaking to her, right? So a story about how, oh my gosh, my child just worked for the I was happy. I was super excited to see my child take her first step, or I was happy to see that my child had taken her first step. It was a thing of joy for me. That kind of story. Now you know how you start it and all. That kind of story is a new time. Mom will be like, oh yeah, I remember when my child just took her. Maybe our child hasn't even taken her first step. Like, oh, I'm also expecting my child to take her first step. Oh, wow, this is how this one happened. Oh, wow. And then she's putting two and two together. How's my child going to be? Even a mother who has a toddler would also resonate with that. Oh, I remember when my child took her first step. Oh, just you see that kind of thing. So something like this resonates with your prospects. You get, so you have to tell a story that relates, that resonates, that empathizes. So when they hear the story, they're like, oh, this sounds like me. Oh, I've been there. This happened to me too. Stuff like that. They should be able to say this. You should be able to understand and share their feelings. So how do you do this? That's why before you sell, you need to know who you are selling to. Because if you do not know who you're selling to, you can't properly sell to them. You can't, how do you even do that? You don't know who you're selling to and you want to sell to them. That's not even possible. So that's why, to even write a story to sell, you need to know who you're selling to, who are the people you're selling to, have sufficient knowledge about them. You must have conducted research about them, market research about them. Not just their demographics, their what makes them think and all of these things. So this will guide you when telling a story to sell to them, right? So that's that on empathetic. And then the next E is erratic. Now, ERRATIT. Now, what this simply mean is unpredictability. When something is erratic, it's unpredictable. Yeah, so your story has to be unpredictable. When I say unpredictable, they should not be able to tell, oh, I know where this story is going. This person wants to sell us a course on making money online, or this person wants to sell us a course on public speaking, and this person wants to sell us a book on blah blah blah. Imagine if your prospect feels that way while reading your story from the beginning. Do you think they will keep on reading? Because humans don't like to be sold to. We like to buy, but we don't like to be sold to. Note that down. We like to buy as humans. That's ironic, right? But we don't like to be sold to. So when we already sense that you are about to sell to us, that, oh, I know this person wants to sell a book. The reason for this story is to sell something. They shouldn't be able to predict that this is where the story is going. That last is to tie this into a product that you're doing. No, they shouldn't be able to predict that. If they are able to sense this, then your story is also dead on arrival. So they shouldn't be able to sell. So that's why your story should come natural. Don't force it. Don't try to force it. Don't try to make it seem like, oh, you're like, no, you don't need to do that. It has to be natural. It has to be like you're talking to a friend. It has to be like you're telling a story. Like, don't try to force it. So it has to be natural as storytelling, right? You should take them by surprise. Your story should take them by surprise. There should be a twist. Your story can have a twist, a turn. Having twists and turns in stories, the reason why you love some movies, the reason why some movies have made a lot of popularity, have become really so popular. A lot of people are seeing these movies and all. It's because they have a lot of twists and turns. The storyline is amazing. It's something you can't predict. Check most of the best movies you can think of. They are not stories that when you watch it, you predict, okay, this is, there will be twists, and even novels, because I read novels too. I love novels that take me on a journey that I can never predict it. People that are able to do that so well. One of such author is Sidney Sheldon. I love his books so much. He's able to do that so well. So when you read stories that, you know, when you see stories like this, you start to see you see this twist and turn. These things put you at the edge of your seat, and you're like, wow, I didn't see this coming. Do you understand? So you should be able to, it's not like this, you have, you know, you might not be able to do this so much when you're selling a product, but at least you should have a spice of it. You should have a bit of it. Twist and turn, unpredictability, right? Should be in your story. This arouses the curiosity of your prospect. This makes them this makes them really edgy, right? This just hooks them. Like at this point, you have them, like, you get. So there's no how they want to stop reading that story. They want to keep on reading to see what happens in the end. So you just hold them, like you hook them down. So, and in copywriting, this thing is called, in copywriting, we have something called pattern interrupt. So I can say this is almost like it. Pattern interrupt is when you basically just give a twist in your copy. It's something that you don't even expect. It's like you're going on a smooth journey and boom, like everything just shakes. You're like, I didn't see that coming. You know, it's pattern interrupt. It's a twist. It's a turn. It's a movement that's unexpected. It's something that it's not expected, really unexpected, unpredictable. Yeah. So now the last E, enjoining. Now this is as important as the rest of the E's I have mentioned. Enjoining. 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 Now what this means, enjoining really means enjoining. That's what it means. It just means making someone do something. All right, making someone do something and enjoin you to, it is call to action. So if, of course, before call to action, you must have transitioned to your offer. You must have, from your story, you must have transitioned to your offer and all that. So now, but a lot of people miss it because their story doesn't have the part enjoying. Now you're telling me, yeah, let me tell you, even if you write a story, very good story, and then you transition to your offer, and then there's no call to action, no matter how much you hook your audience and you have them hooked and all, they're not going to take action because you have not told them to. As humans, right, we love to be told what to do. I'm telling you a lot of these psychological tips, sales psychological tips. We love to be told what to do, right? When you tell humans, when you tell them, oh, do this, we don't like to figure things out on our own. We don't like to figure, okay, so think and say, okay, this person has just told a story about this and transitioned to this offer. So what does this mean? That means, okay, he wants us to take this offer, right? Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just send him a DM. Nobody's going to go through that stress of thinking and trying to put things one and two. As long as you've not told us to do anything, we will just move on. But when you tell us to do something, it's like we are being remote controlled. We'll just boom, we'll just go and okay, click on it. Whatever you want us to do, just do what you want us to do. So you have to tell us what to do. Don't assume that we know. Don't assume that, oh, she has a book that's teaching us that you have told us the book. You have just explained the entire book and said, I wrote this mad book. This book will teach you how to make money. This book is going to change your life. This book, you have told a good story. You've transitioned, but this book is going to change your life. This book is going to turn you from this to this. Like, this is so true. Like, this is actually, I say authentic. We're able to see that, oh, wow, we are sold to this offer already. And we're like, wow, this book is good. And then you just put full stop there. And I'm like, okay. And then we just go on our own. Maybe just a few people, just very few, will just say, how do I get it? Even when you put call to action, some people will say, how do I get it? So that's why your story has to have a call to action. There has to be something, okay, click on this link now to get yours. Do this now And one thing you must ensure is that your call to action is as simple as possible. You don't want to be telling them, okay, a call to action as like, okay, or call this number, or send an email to this number, write, tell us your name, your email address, your phone number, where you are from. Imagine a call to action like that to buy a book. Who's going to go through that stress? But like, we'll just go on our way and look for something easier to do. So you have to ensure that your call to action is easy, it's simple, it's straightforward, and it is singular. When I mean singular, you're telling us to do one thing. You're not telling us, okay, so to get this book now, send an email. Let's assume now you wrote all those, send an email to this, and after that, you now click on this link. That's a lot. That's multiple call to action. So you have to ensure that you have one call to action. Okay, so yeah, so when transitioning, I'm just going to give a few tips about transitioning, because of course transitioning has to come before joining. So a few tips about transitioning is, before you transition to your offer, make a point from your story. There has to be an underlying idea. In copywriting, we call it a big idea. It has to be a big idea about your story, something that you want them to pick from your story, which you're tying into your product. There's a big idea about your story. There's a big idea about it. No matter how long it is, there's a big idea about it, about your story that you've told. So you want to ensure that you emphasize that big idea, because we're not going to discover the big idea ourselves. So when you now we're probably going to discover it, but we want it to be emphasized. So when you're able to emphasize on that big idea and connect it to your products, right, and show that, okay, the big idea of this story is and how it connects to this, of course, you can't be selling something that's not connected to your story. Your product has to be connected to your story. You can't tell a story about Abuja and you're telling a story about, you can't tell a story about Abuja and you're selling a product about Calabar. They have to be connected. Do you understand? So now you make a point, make the idea, then apply it to your product, to your product, to your offer, and then ask for the sale, because which is the call to action, the enjoining part. Yeah. So that is that on that. I've shared with you the 5E model for writing stories that sell: eye-catching and enticing, emotionally compelling, erratic, empathetic, and then the last one, enjoying. So yes, that's all for now. I hope you learned one or two things from this session. I want to see your comments, guys. So what are you taking away from this session? I would like to hear from you. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So guys, you had her. She has dropped a lot of value. I've been writing, and see, my paper is almost full. So there's a lot of value, and there are many things I didn't put down. Plus, I'm trying to summarize everything. If not, I would have used maybe 2 or 3 pages. So Precious has given us a lot. She has basically broken down the framework to tell a story that will work. All right. So if you have questions, please just put it in the comment quickly so that we can ask her, because this is the only opportunity you will have to ask her any question you have about story selling. That is selling with stories. All right. So ask your questions now. Ask your questions now so that she can provide answers before we wrap up. Because after now, I don't know if she will have the opportunity again to get access to her for your answers. All right. So the session was powerful. The session was great. I have learned something new. At least this 5E framework is something I'll be using going forward. And it's something I hope you will also use going forward as well. If you've been writing stories before, you have now learned a better way to write them so that they bring results. Remember, she said it's not really about what you are saying, it's about how you say it. And if you follow this 5E framework, then you're going to tell a good story. You're going to tell a story that is eye catching, that connects with people emotionally, that they can relate to, that is unpredictable, and that leads them skillfully into your offer and into what you have to sell. All right. So, quickly, if there are no questions, then we'll just wrap up for today. It has been a great session already. Day one yesterday was powerful. If you missed it, you will find it on this channel. So just check and watch that session. Day one was on how you can use affiliate marketing to sell more. And today, Precious has just spent over 15 minutes showing us how we can use storytelling to grab people's attention, hold their attention, you know, hold their attention and get them hooked, get them involved in what we are trying to sell, get them to really buy into what we're trying to sell. I like the illustration she gave at the beginning. Someone bought a bunch of products for $200, and just with stories, just using stories, they were able to sell those products for $7,000. That's a very, very huge profit margin. All right. So stories are very powerful. Stories are very, very powerful. If you've not been using them, I'm encouraging you to start using stories. Okay, learn how to write stories, and she has given us a framework to do that. If you don't know how to write, you can engage the services of a good storyteller. Precious is very good at that. That is what she does for brands, for corporations, for companies. So you can engage their services to write stories that will, project your brand image and put out your products and your services in a way that people can easily connect with. All right, so if there are no questions, I will be ending this in the next 2 minutes. I even have another class in less than 5 minutes. All right. Billionaire, thank you so much. Thank you. You were here from the beginning. Thank you. Those of you that were here live, Billionaire, Queen, and some other people that I can't see their name, thank you as well. If you're watching the replay, thank you. Thank you for watching. As I will always say, let us know what you learned. Put it in the comments. Like this video so that YouTube can recommend it to more people, and share as well so that your friends can also learn. All right. And before I go, okay, no questions, no questions. Beautiful, beautiful. Before we end this, like I said yesterday, if you want to learn more about sales and marketing, if you want to expand your skill set, you want to become an expert salesman, then I'm encouraging you to join the Pendulum Sales College. Okay. In the college, we handle all these things in great detail. Storytelling, for instance, is an aspect of the college that we have two teachers handle. Precious is one of the people that handle storytelling. In fact, she has a whole course on storytelling in the sales college. And then another very good storyteller, Gilga Omai, you may know her. She's also one of the people that handled storytelling in that academy, in that college. So the college is a compendium of so much knowledge, practical knowledge on sales and marketing. So I am really, really urging you to join the college and learn so much on copywriting, sales, high ticket closing, cold pitching, sales funnel building, sales page building, email marketing, WhatsApp monetization, and content marketing, and so many different areas of sales and marketing. All right. So, like I said, for the duration of this conference, for the 11 days we'll be here, you can get in at a 50% discount. At a 50% discount. All right. So the college is 50,000 normally, but you can get in at 25,000. And the best part is you don't even have to pay it once. You can pay it in 2 installments. All right. So there's really no excuse if you're serious about getting in. You can pay half of the normal fee, which is 50,000, and you can pay it in 2 installments. So that's the link to check out the college. You can copy it and put it in your browser. Check it out. So you see the content, you see the testimonial from other people, and you see the guests who are there in the college to teach you. Okay, it's a self-paced training. So there's no rush. You take it at your pace. You learn bit by bit. You absorb. You practice. You see results. All right. So I hope you get it. I hope you get it before this discount expires, because there's no point paying double for what you can get for less now. Okay. So thank you for being here. Tomorrow we'll be having another guest. Tomorrow we'll be having Louis Akweze, Big Lou, and he'll be here to talk about selling without stress using lead generation and audience building. Okay, selling without stress using lead generation and audience building. This is another very, very powerful way to grow your business, to sell and sell out your product, especially if you're selling online. If you're selling online and you're not generating quality leads, you're not building an audience, then you are making the biggest mistake you can ever make as a business online. Without building an audience, without generating leads, you are just selling, into thin air. You're selling in hope, and without a strategy. So when you can generate leads, quality leads, and you can nurture those leads to move from just being leads to prospects, then you are really, really on the way to making huge sales. Yes, Lewis is the digital hotspot. He will be here tomorrow, God willing, 7 p.m. So please, I beg you, invite your friends, share the conference flyer, share the copy, let them register, let them join, let them be here tomorrow and learn. Like you're learning today, let them learn tomorrow. The conference is free. No, you're not paying anything for it. Just come and learn and improve your business. That is what matters to me. Learn, implement it, and improve your business. Sell more, do better, and make more money on the online space. And even if it's offline as well. All right. So thank you. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow. And if you're watching the replay, if you have questions, put it in the comments as well. All right. So good night. Good night. Good night. Thank you.